So
to
let's
a
get
fault.
right to it. Our first issue of the day is something that we have kicked around between the two of us, so to speak. I guess it's just Kris Jenner's plastic surgery.
It's in your face.
Okay, it's in your
so
face, and your best friend is a
dermatologist,
dermatologist,
but she does.
and
a
one of
lot
my best friends is a
facial.
plastic surgeon. So
Yeah, but
we
my,
know.
my best friend does facial. A lot
Yeah, a
of
lot
the
of
focus
facial,
is on
yeah.
facial fillers and
Okay, so we know a lot about it, but the point is we do our occasional Botox and fillers. She does fillers, I just do
No,
Botox.
I do Botox. I do a drop of filler, but
Okay.
not anymore.
All
I
right,
used to,
so
but
we do
anyway,
do
went away.
that, but we have had no plastic surgery, at
No.
least not yet.
Well,
Okay,
I'm
so
not getting any, but me, I'm afraid of dying under anesthesia, so that would be a
that
problem.
would pretty much eliminate
unless they're
the
going to do a
surgery.
facelift without anesthesia.
Okay, are you resentful
No,
of her?
I don't have a problem. I was talking to Francesca about this, my best
Okay.
friend who is the New York City expert. I just am tired of having to see this, why they have to stick their face, whatever it is, face lifts, face everything, in my face. And the funniest thing is, I had a best friend for a long time years ago who was in the music industry, and she was a big powerhouse in the music industry. She decided to get a facelift, and the funniest thing is, back then, which isn't now, when people had facelifts, they didn't
Yeah.
want people to know they had facelifts. She was everyone knew her in the industry, in the music industry. Billboard magazine devoted a whole issue to her. She was an agent that represented everyone from Springsteen to Bon Jovi to everybody in the world. She had a facelift, and she said, I don't want people to know. I just want to look as though I had a little bit of a rest over the weekend. But now the world has changed, and everyone has to put in your face what they're having done to their face. And the other day, I told Francesca, we were talking on the phone over the weekend, and the other one that's killing me is Chrissy Teigen, who I think
Yeah.
she's really pretty, and I love John Legend. Now she had a hair lift. So what they do is they pull your hair back, and I think they lowered her hair. They lowered her hairline. So she had a receding hairline. So now
Okay.
they lower it. And then the picture that I saw, it was in, I don't know where it was somewhere, maybe it was on Yahoo. And there was just all the stitches, and I have to look at the stitches on her head, and she's so proud. And then she has a face sling to show that she had this, a chin sling, and I don't know. I think it's just out of control. If you want to have a facelift, which is fine, everybody should do whatever they want to make themselves feel better. But why do you have to shove it in somebody's face? And the weird thing is about Kris Jenner, who I think was attractive before, now she's just trying to become her daughter, Kim. And it's a weird look because she's not Kim, because Kim really isn't Kim anymore. If you go back and you see what Kim looked like in the beginning when they started their reality show, none of them look the way they did, not because they got older, but because their whole faces have changed. So she's becoming her daughter, which her daughter isn't really her daughter originally.
Okay, so I do like it that more and more women and probably more and more men are embracing the fact that they want to look better.
That's
and
fine.
they're
I don't
not
have a problem
ashamed
with
of the
that.
fact that they use modern medicine to
That's
get there.
great.
Okay.
But why do you have to keep shoving it in
So-
everybody's face that now I had my
'Cause
fifth facelift?
She's a reality TV star. She's a social
I
media
know.
giant. She's a powerhouse. It's how they sell themselves. People are interested in them. They become like the first family of social media.
Yes.
And I don't resent them. I'm not jealous of them.
I'm
I'm
just
impressed.
tired of it.
I know.
Oh, well, you're
Okay.
impressed.
Well, I'm
tired of
impressed
it.
with the empire that they have built.
Oh, well, that's
with,
a whole different
nothing.
can of worms.
That they have no discernible talents. Do they? Do they have any
she
talents?
was married to Robert Kardashian, who was the lawyer
for
during
OJ,
the OJ
yeah.
trial.
Okay.
But what I said.
Does Kim Kardashian have any?
What is she an
talents?
actress? I mean,
No.
she's a wannabe actress, and now she just graduated law school.
Okay.
So she's now
Way to
going
go.
to be a lawyer. But in the beginning, honestly, they were lucky because Ryan Seacrest was the brains behind the operation. I worked with Kris Jenner 1,000 years ago. I told you I represented Bruce Jenner when he did Tropicana ads. That's how long ago it was. But Kris Jenner was his manager. But from there on, it just went out of control, and they became the best well-known reality family ever. Empire.
Okay. So I don't follow it like you do, but I look at Kris Jenner now, just the pictures of her, and I think she's 69.
No, she's much younger than that.
I thought she was 69.
No,
You sure?
no. Maybe she's 65. No, she's not 69.
Okay, whatever. All right,
In her
we should look that
60s.
up. Okay, but whatever she is,
Yeah.
she looks good.
Yeah,
Maybe
she
she's
looks
not
great.
herself, but she's getting. We live near Beverly Hills. We go to Beverly Hills a lot. You go almost every day, and we see facelift disasters
It's not real world.
right
I talk,
and left. We see women who are nightmare victims of
it's
plastic
like the
surgery on
TV
their
show's
face.
Botched.
And
There was a TV
and
series
you can
Botched.
see them from a mile away walking on Rodeo or
Right.
Bedford
But
or
the
whatever.
problem is, and I was talking to my sister about this yesterday, that for a woman to live in LA, Beverly Hills, it is such a mind trip, because when you go to Beverly Hills, and my sister works in Beverly Hills for an eye doctor, and she works on a street where it's the most famous plastic surgery street. Every office on that street, Bedford, has plastic surgeons, and you see them being wheeled out with the chin straps and the nose guard and everything. But the reality is not reality. What happens is, being a woman, you look at these women and you say, oh my God, what's wrong with me? How come my nose isn't as perfect? How come my cheeks aren't as plumped up? And how come my ass isn't as big? And how come my boobs aren't as big? And so, but that's not reality. That's fake. That's fantasy. So anywhere else in the world, maybe New York, and I'm a New Yorker, it's not that way in New York, and I have spent tons of time in New York. It's not as crazy as it is here. This is the capital, and then maybe Miami is second to this place. But you, as a woman especially, walk in Beverly Hills, and it is so depressing. You start to feel, what's wrong with me? How come I don't look like that? But meanwhile, that's not the normal. That's abnormal.
Yeah. Okay, but some who get great plastic surgery do look really good.
Well, maybe
and we live
that's
near,
a potluck thing.
We live near Jane Fonda in our complex.
Right. Well, she's had five or six facelifts, and she looks good, and she's 85, 87, whatever, 87.
I saw her in the gym the other day, and I was like, wow, she looks great.
But for someone who's not 87, and if you're just a normal, regular woman, and you live in Beverly Hills, or you live near Beverly Hills, you can't help but feel there's something wrong with you, because you're not looking like that. But again, that is the abnormal, but it becomes the normal. It's like if you ever watched the TV show The Munsters from the 1963, whatever, 65, everybody, it's been in reruns since 1960s. Marilyn, the niece who was beautiful, they thought she was ugly. But meanwhile, they were freaks.
They're all freaks.
So they say, poor Marilyn, she'll never get a boyfriend. But meanwhile, they're like, they're the weirdest looking bunch.
Yeah.
But that's what happens here.
Mm-hmm.
The women that you look at, they're now the normal, and you're the freak because you don't have all that plastic surgery, and you don't have all the giant fillers, because some of the fillers are as bad as plastic surgery, because the cheeks get plumped, and then the lips are so plumped. So I don't know. I'm just sick of
some
seeing
women with lips that are gigantic, and I'm like, what are you doing?
It's just ridiculous.
Don't you look in the mirror and say, I'm a disaster?
No, because the doctors want to make the money, so they will tell the patient, you look incredible.
Okay.
That's great.
It works.
And so that's why they walk around, because as my best friend Francesca, who knows because she's in that world, she says she will not do. There are 18-year-old girls that come to her and they want filler in their lips, and she will not give them what they want, and they leave because she says, I'm not going to be responsible for making that girl look that way. I'm just not going to do it. And they come back to her, you didn't put enough in. She's like, I put in what I thought you're going to look normal and good. They don't want to hear it. So, and there are plenty of doctors out there that will give them what they want. But why we have to live with it in our face is
I've
ridiculous.
never asked you this.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you want
a
ultimately a boob job
Are you kidding me?
or a
a facelift? I just told you I'm scared of anesthesia. How would I get a boob? First of all, I don't really care about it.
Desperate enough, and you said, okay, I got to compete. I got to keep up.
Never in my entire life would I ever get a boob job,
I'm happy that
a
you say
nose
that.
job.
Thank
I don't
you.
have a perfect nose. My nose is not small, but it is what it is.
It looks
And
good. It
well,
gives you
it
character.
fits my
It
face.
fits
What
your
can I do?
face. It
And
does.
what can you do? But people don't put up with that, and they say, "Well, I'm not as attractive, and I need every single part of my body
Okay,
redone."
I'm not just saying this, but you
Right.
look really, really good, quote
Oh,
unquote,
for
for
your
your
age.
age.
Oh God, I
But
better get a facelift
okay,
right
no, but
now.
I'm saying you're not
No,
24,
I'm not.
but you look really good.
Well,
You look
thanks.
very
I
young,
appreciate it.
and you don't need anything more than what you do. But you do some things.
Yeah, I
You
do
get
Botox.
Botox and some filler.
But I
Okay,
don't, yeah, but the filler I get, it's only because I'm very thin. And so
okay,
when
well
I'm
that's fine.
thin,
Okay,
my face hollows out. But I don't, right now, I don't have really any filler left in my face. I had it done like a year ago, but that
okay,
was the last time. But it's just to make me not look like I'm gaunt in my
okay. So you're
cheeks.
taking advantage of the breakthroughs in facial enhancement or
Yeah, and
whatever.
I used to get my lip. This was
Yeah,
before anybody did lips because Francesca's my best friend, and she would my bottom lip is thinner than my top lip, so she would put it in, or she put in my top lip. I can't remember which one she did, but she would put the filler in, and I never got it where it looked like filler. But the problem with me is my metabolism is so fast
yeah.
that it would eat up whatever she put in. The next week it would be out. So she'd say to me, "I never saw somebody whose lip filler goes away so fast." So, and I would just do it just to even out my lip, not to make them like that. So I give it up. I don't put it on. I have thin lips and it is what it is. So,
Okay. So my only experience with boob job came when I was dating a woman. This is a long time ago, back in my Dallas days, my Dallas radio days. And she decided as we were dating that she didn't like her breasts, that they weren't, she wasn't flat chested, but she was small chested. And she said, I want to get a boob job.
good for her.
Okay, whatever you think, I'll support. And she got one. And she
It
got
made her happy.
for a little while, but I don't think she was ultimately happy because to carry those around is
Well, it
some
depends
work.
on what you get. I
You
mean,
know,
that's why some women they're born with big boobs and they have to get it taken down, a reduction, because my mother had big boobs
she
and her
did.
whole life she would say to me, I mean, I don't have to wear a bra. I don't care. I like going every day without a bra because I don't want to have to wear a bra. But my mother would have indentations on her shoulders
Yeah.
from the bra that she wore for 70 years because she was so big she had to wear a bra. Me, I throw on a t-shirt, whatever. I don't need a bra. So that to me, I'm happy about
So
that
why didn't you get your mother's boobs?
because not everything is genetic,
Genetically
you know,
transferable?
but what can you do? And I don't
I
really
don't
care
know.
about that. But what will happen with Kris Jenner, I think.
Okay, so before we
Yeah.
leave behind my
Oh
boob
yeah, we're
job
back to your
story,
girlfriend's
okay,
boobs.
this is just me,
Yeah.
but I didn't ever like the touch and feel of the boob job boobs because
Well, it's fake.
they're fake and they're rubbery and they're ugh.
Well,
It was more of a turn off
well, it
than a
looks
turn
like
on.
I mean,
So
some
they
women,
look good in your clothes, but they
except when you
don't.
show that they look like two balls or melons
Well,
put
that
on you,
that's
but that's
terrible. Yeah, I
ridiculous. That's
agree.
when
I
women go
agree.
overboard.
Yeah.
If you want to get a little boob job, whatever makes you happy. But I think again with Kris, what will happen is the media, the big buzz over the last week in New York, especially, was who was the doctor that did Kris Jenner's face. So Francesca told me who the doctor was because she knew. But now, once that settles down, what happens with the media and what happens with everyone, they will start. Now they're going to say, you know what? It doesn't really look that good. Now they'll start ripping her because it's the immediate, oh my God, look at who did that. Oh, you have to find who the plastic surgeon is. Then give it a couple of weeks and then it'll be the
Yeah.
reverse because that's what they do.
The other thing, I've had several female friends in my profession who have gone over the edge, off the deep end, into plastic surgery all over their bodies to the point I don't even know who they are
Well,
anymore.
that's
I can't
scary.
recognize them.
Yeah, that is
What?
really
What are you doing?
very.
Then you're just addicted to I gotta get better and better and better.
But some of your friends were in their 30s starting out, and then they become
But
a different
where
person.
do you stop? When do you stop?
Well, that's the problem.
Because the aging will never stop,
You
no
can't
matter
stop
what you
getting
do.
old.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And you can go and then
You
eventually
can't
you're
have
having
a
your
doctor
10th
remove
facelift.
your aging. No
You
doctor
can't.
is capable of removing aging.
My mother
The
had a great
process.
line, because my mother never had anything done, but my mother would always say, you can get as much plastic surgery on the outside, but inside your body knows how old you really are. And that's the truth, because you can't change the inside of your body, no matter
And
what.
as cliched as this sounds, in the end, all that really matters is your heart. And I'm talking
Or your
about
health.
no,
Oh.
I'm not talking about your health, your spiritual heart. You know,
Well, yeah.
what you're made of as far as a relationship goes is all that matters in the end. And I know sexual attraction matters at first glance and all that, and it helps to present yourself as best you can. I got no problem with that. But in the end, that's all surface fake.
Well, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Because after a while, that goes away, and you have to deal with the real person behind the plastic surgery. But
Yeah.
again, I don't care what people get. I really don't. If you want to, if that makes you feel good and you have your whole body redone.
Yeah.
But now with celebrityism, they have to shove it in your face, and you have to accept that that's the topic. So we had to discuss the topic. That was the topic all over the country.